Hello and welcome back to Billy Ho Sports. Switching things up a little bit, we have a major stakes race at my home track, Churchill Downs, this Saturday. It's the Chicago Stakes. It is one of the premier filly mare sprint races for older horses of the year. It's part of my reoccurring Split the Pot series. It's a contest for Stephen Foster Day. We're going to do multiple Split the Pot contests. So basically, everybody that comments on these videos for Churchill Downs will go into the draw for a spin, and we'll probably spin more than once. The winner will get a $20 bet on me that we split if we win. Simple enough. To be eligible for this, you must subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button, leave a comment, use that hashtag BHS to help promote the channel, and give me your winner of the Chicago Stakes. And we're going to go ahead and kick things off with some past performances, and we'll have some race replays to show you as we go along. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Get ready for a ride you won't ever forget. Let's get into it now. Okay, Chicago Stakes is a grade 2 event, fillies and mares, 4-year-old and upward, going 7 furlongs, just short of the turn there, as you can see, going down that straightaway to the one turn. And we're going to start with number 1, Brad Cox's Emery. Florent Giroux gets the ride this time. And this one is a bit of an enigma. I'm such a big Brad Cox fan. And not really, I mean, I'm kind of indifferent on Florent Giroux as a jockey. He's a good jockey. He's just, probably maybe not even in my top 5 as far as that goes, but he's a solid guy. So anyway, runs well at the grade 1 level, second in the Madison at Keeneland. Just missed this grade 2 inside info by a neck to Mystic Lake. And those two were kind of rivals at one time. You can see she defeated my main squeeze down here in the Raven Run at Keeneland. That's last October. She's got one of the few triple-digit Brisnet figures for this victory ride. And then she does have the Leslie's Lady at this distance last year, right around this time last year in the Leslie's Lady. That was a run a week ago or so. So Emery, solid choice, but kind of tailed off a little bit in 2025. The distaff, I'm not really sure if that's a toss race or not. I mean, Copion, everybody is just gaga over that horse. Ways and Means is really turning out to be just the perfect sprinter at this distance. Those two probably 1 and 1A as far as your top female sprinters at this distance. So, Emery had to go up against both of those, and then Hope rode in there as well. So uh, it's a tough inside draw. Been off for 49 days. I'm sure she'll be fresh, but we'll probably need a good inside trip and some racing luck. So, Minx Palace scored a nice little victory down here in the Roxlana and at 4-1, but did not back her in the winning colors. You can see didn't really just got ate up by Too Sharp. Too Sharp broke early and rode a nice wave of early speed to the victory, got out early by 4 lengths. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but you can see this one hasn't run a speed figure above 93, and that's just not going to be enough. You can see the par, and I'll mention the pars for this. You can see the early 97, the 105, the 96 late, and the 99 speed figure. Those are the pars for this distance, and that's and probably goes along with this graded stakes race. That's the kind of pars that are run in this level of competition, and Minx Palace just doesn't have it. So neither does really Gray Lightning. You can see none of these had one big monster 104 pop down here at Parks, but that was a 14 length wire job. She's not going to get that trip this time. She will probably factor in the early pace, I'm sure, but just in over her head. I mean, she couldn't get it done in a 50K black stakes at Hawthorne or at a stakes race at Will Rogers Downs. So yeah, going to kind of pass on that one, because when you have horses like this, Bright Work being a bright spot in the John Ortiz barn, Brian Hernandez getting the second mount. You can see he ran 4th in the winning colors, and I think this one is just it was the first off the layoff. You can see she's kind of had an odd career to her. She started off just like a house of fire as a 2-year-old, won her first 4 races going sprint distances, and culminated with the spinaway at 7 furlongs. So she can do it. And the 95, 103, 85 is pretty close to the pars we're looking for here. Then she goes and tries the Alcibiades at a mile and a 16th and doesn't work out for her at all. And then tries the juvenile fillies, which they all really want to try that one, and really just got punched in the gut in that one as well. So let's regroup, come back in 2024, and she pops right out of the gate at Saratoga in the Prowess Grade 3, wins by a neck. Big 99 speed figure. You can see 90. That's what we want to see. 97, 104, 91, and the 99. And then she goes into the and runs a pretty good thoroughbred. I believe the Thoroughbred Club of America, Keeneland in October. That was won by Zeitlos. So we'll talk about Zeitlos a little bit later. But Saez was aboard for those two races, and then we get Hernandez. And so basically, this one is really looking good. I think she chased into a tough race against Too Sharp, who took command right out of the gate, and she did chase pretty good halfway down the stretch before pulling the plug. I think she'll be fitter. I think the second off the layoff looks really good for John Ortiz, and I like her being back on one of the top jockeys at Churchill Downs, Brian Hernandez, who's really getting it going over the last week. He's got 6 wins and 23 starts. 5 seconds and 3/3. So he's firing it now. He's up to 17% for the meet. So he's on the uptick. So catching lightning in a bottle with Brian Hernandez, bright work. Now Vahva, this is the one, probably my favorite horse in the race as far as just watching her over the years. I had her in the Derby City Distaff last year when she defeated Alva Star down the stretch, and it was between those two, and I chose correctly. And then she beat Positano Sunset. These figures, and you will see random 101s like this one from Brightwork, and there's a couple other ones. There's a 104 and there's a 106, but there's only one occasion where they ran that triple digit Brisnet number. You can see she's done it 3 times. And but the only thing, if we want to think that the daughter of Gunrunner here peaked at 4 and then started declining, like the ballerina declining, and then the Philly Mare Sprint. I always forgive these Breeders' Cup races because anything can happen in them, and then they could get run, especially at a speed favoring track like Del Mar, and really just kind of a 21:44, pretty contested pace. But you could see the speed favoring Del Mar only gave it a -1, -1. So the 21:44 figures can often lead to a bigger plus column in different scenarios, but not in that one. So she just didn't have anything to run into coming down the stretch and just kind of flattened out, was no factor and no response. And then comes off the layoff in the Derby City Distaff. And she was on the inside, got through on the rail and was coming, but she just didn't have any pop to her. So that worries me a little bit because she is a gun runner or mare now, 5-year-old mare. So they should be able to handle the slop just fine. She won on the wet fast here at Charlestown. So I can't blame it on the slop completely. And 89 is her worst speed figure. That's the only sub 90 speed figure you can see in her last several years of racing. So I don't know what that means. She's either in for a huge bounce back or she's her best days are behind her. So I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt and see one more time. But we're gonna go on to Marmalade Sky. Won 2 straight races, weaker company, just really outclassed. So we're going to move on to Harbor Springs, a little more interesting one. Probably is still over her head in the class department, but did run third in that Roxalana, and she did break a little bit slow, but she got back up in the mix and ended up with an 87 speed figure. But that's Minx Palace, and I don't give Minx Palace that big of a shot here, so I'm not really going to give her too big of a shot. Again, just too many classes here. Now, I'm guessing it's Pigalle or Pig Ale, but it's Claiborne Farms, it's Tom Drury, Luan Mikado, the Axeman. Only winning at 10%, so he's not really having a great meet. Moving over from Turfway to here is kind of a tall order. I mean, this is kind of like in the big leagues now. So he's facing like Luis Saez and Brian Hernandez and Jose Ortiz and Flavian Pratt on a regular basis now. So it's tough to compete against those guys. So I give him props for moving up in the ranks. But you can see this one, he's ridden since the Ellis Park groupie doll win, where she did click that 100 Brisnet figure, but that's her peak. She did go to Churchill Downs after that and ran a couple of big high 90s, and this 97 in the that gives me good vibes. You can see she peaked in the Chaluki, which she ran into Too Sharp, who we just talked about how Too Sharp can get out there, and when you can see the +9 +7, even a little bit of pace to run at going a mile, and she still couldn't close. So she did have a little bit of a rough trip, but you fast forward to May 30th, 2025. You put her on the slop at 7.5, and she rolls by and extends the lead at the end. Top Gun Girl, pretty decent horse there. So not top flight, but it's still 100K in 3X optional claiming race, and she looked really good doing it. So I'm going to give her an outside shot to win, sired by blame, but I would say more on the level of underneath exotics, exactas, and trifectas, and pick five tickets. I wouldn't. I don't know that I would leave her off a pick five ticket, but we might end up doing that. if we get to a pick five later in the week. So she does have that late rally and can flip the board. So now we're going to go on to my main squeeze, which was my main squeeze right here in the eight bills. I had her winning that one at almost 7-1 odds, and I just really just loved her ever since. But she stepped up into grade one competition, and she just always seemed to be there, but just lacking. You can see that this is the speed figures we want. The first half of the race, the 94s, the 93s, the 103s, all those are great, but then you run into not being able to close, and you just don't have enough gas in the tank. But she did win the Dogwood going seven. She did run second to Emery in the Raven run, and then did run third behind Emery and Positano in the Madison. So I'm not really 100% sure about her ruffian. It was a bad trip. I know that for sure. She broke out of the gate. Manny Franco, I'm not really sure if it was his fault or not. I don't want to blame him, but they clipped heels early. Then she was brushed and then held back. And then a couple strides later, she stumbles and almost falls. So I don't really know. Maybe he was worried about her being injured or whatever, but he pushed her right up to the lead and had the lead in the stretch by a head, but just could not hold on. And that's been her problem. But that was going a mile. Now we're cutting back to seven. She's also coming back to Churchill Downs, where she's got good vibes. Obviously, the eight bells. Then you had another 7 furlong Dogwood win by 5. She likes the surface, horse for course. Getting Luis Saez back aboard, huge. Mike Maker, another huge. Third off layoff, 19%, 49 in the money. I like my main squeeze. So now this one is going to be Claret Barrett, and it's Saffie Joseph. I mean, if you want to know how good Saffie Joseph is with sprinters, look at this horse in her career. Starts off on the dirt or turf and running pretty good. I mean, we get wins races and then goes to the dirt, wins at 7, then wins at 7. So why, I don't know why then, but was shortened up to 6. So I don't know if they were trying something different, but it was a muddy track, so you can almost throw that race out. Then they decided, oh, let's just try her 2 turns and see what happens, and she wins by a nose, and then not so good in the next one up. But then on March 7th, after this race, Saffie Joseph gets a hold of her and says, we're going back to where she had the best success and the best wins, back-to-back wins, going 7 furlongs, coming off October and November of 2024. And we're putting her back at, we're going to go a mile, and we're going to stretch her and then shorten her up. So this is really good. I mean, she absolutely mashed it. 106, won by 19 lengths. People are going to look at that and go gaga over it. She's probably going to take a little more money than she should. It was just a 70K handicap, so I'm not going to say I'm going to ask her to do it again. So I'm not using her at all. She's a complete toss. I'm not saying she won't be in there, but I'm not using her. So too many horses like this one. Zeitlos, the 11 horse, always shows up with a nice effort. I can forgive the Breeders' Cup race, like I mentioned earlier. Very average pace at best for that day at Del Mar, and she had to try to rally up into that. So no bueno, but you can see the middle. The pace figures are all there. 93 coming home, 99. That Thoroughbred Club of America win at 6 furlongs is right in the wheelhouse. What we're looking for a closing effort. If we get the kind of pace which we could get here, this horse is going to be a big time sleeper with Flavian Pratt aboard. So it does have a little bit of a tough draw on the outside here, but she should be able to break over and get position and not get caught too wide around the first turn. Coming from 7 furlongs, it's a pretty good sprint to the first turn. So more than enough time for the tactician Flavian Pratt, who needs to step his game up. Look at this 12%. He was winning at double that or more. Look, you can see he's 26% overall on the year and 61 in the money for 2025. But so far, over 52 starts, not very good. So he needs to step it up, and probably has a chance to do so with Zeitles. She did debut at Pimlico in that Skip Cat Stakes and won that one easy, so she should be able to be ready for the step up. And she got clear and won that one with ease. So that's your field for the Grade 2 Chicago Stakes. This field is deep. I'm telling you, deep. But we looked at the track bias during the meet. 28 races at 7 furlongs, 7 of them wire-to-wire winners. Very few were coming from off the pace, but it does happen. It happens more often than you think. But looking at the race objectively, I think Bright Work does have the advantage, who likes to be closer to the pace early and should be able to have first crack at the stretch drive. And if she can get clear, I think she could probably hold off the rest of them And her early mid pace numbers are dead on. She does need to dial up a little late speed, but I think she can do that with the amount of pace. I mean, she had to chase a lot more pace last time around, and she did pull the plug halfway down the stretch. So I think if she's going all out to the wire, she's going to run that 90 something speed figure for the late pace and be right up there in the high 90s, maybe even crack triple digits for the Brisnet figures. Again, no two sharps in this race. Vahva is interesting. She technically should be the one to beat, but I'm trying not to get tunnel vision on her. I don't know what her odds will be off that poor effort on her debut at Churchill Downs, but she has owned Churchill Downs in the past, so 7 furlong distance for her, it seems like right in her wheelhouse. So I wouldn't be stunned by the least bit if she takes it to the house around the home stretch there. But like I said, I like Pagale. I think she does her best work at 7 furlongs. My main squeeze does her best at Churchill Downs at 7 furlongs. So definitely a threat to win. And then you have Zeitlos on the back end. And I think the tiebreaker is going to go to like jockeys like Luis Saez and Brian Hernandez. So I am going to take tentatively the number 4 Bright Work to win the race. I do like my main squeeze to be very close. I'm going to back my main squeeze on a win type bet too, some kind of across the board. I don't know how I'll do it, whether I bet Bright Work to win or I just box the two. But I am going to include the 8 and the 11 and obviously the 5 in there somewhere as well. Some combination of those horses for Bright. So I'll just go in order of post position. So it's 4 Bright Work, 5 Vahva, 8 Pigale, 9 my main squeeze, and 11 Zeitlos. And tentatively Bright Work to win. My main squeeze tentatively next up. And then between the next three for the third place finish. So, hope you enjoyed the video, the Chicago Stakes preview coming up this Saturday. It's always a really great race at Churchill Downs. Now, remember, the commenters to this race, so just give me your pick to win, give me your good bet, give me an exacta, trifecta bet, anything you want to do. Just get that comment in there, and that will put your name in the draw. Everybody's just one draw, one entry per. So, just to put that out there, and it's going to be multiple draws for next weekend's Stephen Foster. June 28th. And also tons of great racing down the road. We've got the pick 5 for the Ohio Derby at Thistledown coming up. We are going to draw that for the split the pot for the Ohio Derby there too. So more racing down the road. Stay in touch and we'll see you.